Welcome to Coming to New England. My name is Alison Pierel and my guest today is my father. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
What is your full name?
Andre Paul Pierel.
And why did your parents select this name for you?
Well, they wanted me to be named after my father, but they didn't want me to be a junior. They didn't like that designation, so I have a different middle name. My father's middle name is Eugene and my middle name is Paul, but we have the same, first and last name.
That's cool. And when and where were you born?
I was born in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, 1962.
And how did your family come to live here?
My mother and my father are both of French descent. My mother's family came from Canada. My mom was actually born in Canada, became a naturalized citizen in the 1930s. She was born in 1922 in Quebec. And my father's family came over from France. Some say part of the family came through Ellis Island, some of the family came through Canada as well. But my father's side of the family is more closely related to France French, and my mom has more generations from Canada.
What was your favorite thing to do for fun?
When I was a child, I used to ride my bike. Loved to ride my bicycle. I still am an avid cyclist, but I used to love riding my bike. I had in our home we had a workshop, so my dad had made sure that I had my own workshop. I used to love taking things apart and build things. I used to build car models and truck models and things like that. So I like to get into technical things and mechanical things.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Describe the personalities of your family members.
Well, my wife is, I wouldn't say she's an extrovert, but she's got a good personality. She's very down to earth, honest. And our daughters, Allie and Jennifer, are, I would say, very respectful, honest, young people.
And what school activities did you participate in?
Wood shop, things like that. And I used to play soccer. Soccer was very popular. In my neighborhood, we had a family from England. They had come over here, and the father was taking a coaching job at one of the colleges and was teaching everyone how to play soccer, so I used to really enjoy that as well.
That's fun. Were you ever mentioned in the newspaper?
Yeah. When I was about 12 years old, one of my friends and I were riding a bicycle. We were both on the same bicycle, and we got hit by a car. We were riding on the sidewalk, and the car was pulling out of a gas station, and got hit by the car, got brought to the hospital. I was mentioned in the newspaper for that.
Who was the oldest relative you remember as a child, and what do you remember about them?
Oh, that's easy. It was my grandmother. And my dad would, she would take a taxi into downtown Woonsocket every Saturday. My mom and I would walk down to what was then the Depot Square, meet up with her, do a little shopping, have some lunch, and walk back to the house, which was maybe half a mile from downtown. She'd spend the day, and then my dad would work, I think, till 4 p.m. on the Saturdays. It was a schedule. He worked for the city of Woonsocket. Come home, we would have dinner, and he would bring my grandmother home.
When and how did you meet your spouse, and what did you do on dates?
Well, we met through a sister. I had worked with, at the time, my wife's sister, and she had shown me a picture, traditional fix-up, and I forget how exactly the meeting came about, but a meeting was arranged and we met, and we started to go out. Of course, we didn't have a lot of money, so it was a lot of movies and bowling and McDonald's and riding around, occasional concert or circus. When it came to Providence, we'd go see the circus. So pretty standard stuff,
Very cute. What memory stands out most from your wedding day?
Well, one memory that stands out is my sister-in-law had a baby the day we were married. My brother-in-law was supposed to film our wedding and couldn't make it because he was at the hospital, his wife delivering a baby, and he had his son do the video for the wedding. But it was a great day. It was a great ceremony. It was nothing bad stood out. Everything went very well, very smoothly. But my niece was born on the same day, so I guess that was that stands out for that day.
How would you describe your spouse? What do you admire most about them?
Well, the thing I most admire about my wife is she's just an honest person. She tells it like it is, you know. She's also very sweet and caring, and I think it's a good balance, you know, because I think what I lack, she makes up for, in compassion and empathy, and reminds me of things, and you know. But she's a great person, you know.
I agree.
Lucky to meet her.
Of all the things you learned from your parents, which do you feel is most valuable?
Well, you know, I think being honest and doing what you say and saying what you do. I think being a man of my word is very important. And there was some importance placed around financial security, saving money, you know, and happiness isn't just about stuff.
Yeah, I agree. What accomplishments are you most proud of?
Well, aside from having a beautiful family and creating a good home life, one thing that stands out in my career that I like to talk about is in a previous job, I had taken over a position for someone who had left the company. We were in a manufacturing facility, plastics company that used to make closures for the cosmetics industry. And I was asked if I would be interested in taking over a hydraulic system. It's a central hydraulic system. It's kind of a big responsibility. And after I learned about hydraulics, I started to make improvements on the system. And that was recognized by the company because it had a direct impact on the profitability of our manufacturing. Once that was done, I was asked to go to Ireland, because we had a plant there, and look over their system and see if I could perform the same improvements. And while it was a daunting task, it was very exciting. You know, went over there and evaluated what they had, came back, drew up a system. I'm not a draftsman. I wasn't educated in engineering, but I got some graph paper and I got hydraulics symbols and I drew everything out and I knew how to do the math. I designed a system. It was all built in the United States, sent over in containers to Ireland, assembled out there. They even put an addition onto the plant for this system. So I was getting a little scared, and they were banking on me to make this improvement. So a lot was on my shoulders, and I was a little scared, but I was young and I was confident and a little cocky, and went over there and we put the system in, and it was more successful than we had even hoped for. The improvements in productivity were great. So I love that story. I pulled it off, and it was something that carried me through that company for the next 5 years.
What do you believe is the key to a successful marriage?
Well, I think this is really open to interpretation, right? I think everybody has their own secret sauce or their recipe. I've only been married once, and I think, for 28 years, I think that, and I think this is the standard answer, right? Communication. I think everybody says that. But I think it's more than communication. I think it's, some people can work as a team, and they have a mutual respect, and they have similar goals in mind. For us, it was family and a home and creating that environment. And I think for us, because we had those goals in mind, we were able to work together. And you build a mutual respect and love. But that's what worked for us. But I think that, some people are more compatible than others. I don't think there's a single answer that's correct. But I do think that if a marriage is worth having, it's worth working for. I mean, it does take work on both sides. Would be, I guess, a simple answer.
How would you define the American dream?
Well, it's different for everybody, but how I would define it would be, I think the most basic things are health. right? And for me, a dream isn't just having more stuff. It's more about health and happiness and relationships and respect of other people, right? And being happy with what you've accomplished in your life.
Definitely. It has been my pleasure to interview you today. Thank you again for being here. This is Alison Pierel, and you have been watching Coming to New England.